Giants fans got a first look at Daniel Jones making his first appearance on the field since he injured his knee last season. We're going to talk about his performance, what he did. Some Giants fans are already bugging out over this, but maybe there's reason to be just a bit calm. We're going to talk about it with a sports columnist for the New York Post, my guy Steve Serby, who will join me now. Steve, how you doing? Like the look.
Thank you, Dex. Always a pleasure to be on with you any day, anytime.
There we go. Always glad to talk with you, sir. Got to ask you this, because we look at this Giants in their second preseason game against the Texans. Daniel Jones, first two series, 2 picks. Giants fans on Twitter, they were freaking out. They didn't like what they saw. What did you make of what you saw from Jones on those throws? And should Giants fans be concerned, Steve?
Well, of course they should be, but you have to understand he hasn't played since last November. So that's what preseason's for. But that first pick, just throwing the ball away recklessly, is just inexcusable. You can't have that. You can't play winning football in the NFL with a quarterback throwing a pick like that. And then the second pick, a line drive throw that Phil Simms and Carl Banks correctly analyzed as a throw that should have been back shoulder because Derek Stingley had inside leverage on the throw and picked it off. So if you want good news, if Giant fans are interested in good news, some of them aren't. They just want Daniel Jones to go away. But if they were interested in good news, he did bounce back. And that's an important trait for a quarterback. You've got to be a fighter. You've got to overcome early inadequacies, early inconsistencies, and he was able to do that for what it's worth. But Giant fans will still leave today worrying about Daniel Jones, and with good reason.
Fair point there, Steve, and he did bounce back, which is where I wanted to go next, because those were the first 2 series. Didn't look good, throws the 2 picks, but the next series he leads a 7-play, 68-yard drive that ended in a touchdown, and he had a really good throw, deep ball to Darius Slayton there. What did you make of his ability to bounce back on that very next series and lead the team down to a touchdown scoring drive? What did you make of his effort there?
Well, look, he is resilient. He's mentally tough, physically tough. He's been sabotaged by offensive lines who had him running for his life over the last couple of years. But he's got a chemistry with Darius Slayton. We saw that. He has been able to hit the deep ball in practice more often lately. So it's a case, he needs to work. He needs the reps, plain and simple. That's why he played a half. That's why Brian Daboll wanted him to feel the heat of the pass rush, because he hasn't played since last November, and he only played 6 games last year. So, maybe if I'm Brian Daboll, I might want to play him a little bit against the Jets just to get more reps, to get more rhythm going, because I don't think you can play scared with Daniel Jones at this point off the beginning of this game. I would play him against the Jets.
It'll be interesting to see if he does get more reps going forward in that third preseason game against the New York Jets that is coming up later this month. Steve, last thing I'll ask you before we get out of here, I'm going to make you Professor Steve Serby here for a second. If you had to grade Daniel Jones' performance in the second preseason game against the Texans, shaky start, but he did bounce back, what grade would you give Daniel Jones by what you saw of him against the Texans?
Well, because that first pick was so egregious, it was a pick 6, I'd have to give him a D for Daniel. A D for Daniel. But look, again, preseason, the guy's rusty as hell. If you're looking for any signs of optimism, the offensive line played very well, gave him time to operate. Malik Neighbors made a Malik Neighbor-esque catch. He's the first number 1 receiver Daniel Jones has ever had. And Brian Daboll is the elite play caller that Daniel Jones and any quarterback needs. Just ask Josh Allen. So there is reason for hope. But if you asked me to grade off that pick 6 and that early interception and only putting up 10 points, against the Texans, I'd have to give him a D.
All right, a D for Daniel Jones, not the grade that Giants fans were looking for at all whatsoever. But
well, let me ask you, Dex.
Sure.
What would you give him? What grade would you give him?
I liked some of the bounce back ability there.
That's why I gave him a D.
Yeah, because look, to be fair, this could have been bad. This could have been an F for sure. It could have been that, but he didn't fail. He bounced back. He led them to 10 points, got a touchdown, got a field goal. I'll give him a little bit more. I'll give him a C- because he didn't look to be broken or shaken by those plays, and that matters to me. How you bounce back wasn't great, but I'll give him a C-. I can't go that much higher than you. C-. That's what I'll go.
No, I was debating between C- and D, but the pick 6 pushed me over to D.
That's fair. I can see that. That is fair. But Giants fans, some of them, as I said, on social media, they did not like what they saw. They let it be known. Some people freaking out a little bit. But you know what? Steve just gave everybody a little bit of hope here. And listen, Steve.
Daniel Jones might lead the league in haters, okay? He might.
He might.
But how about why don't those haters at least give the guy a chance? That's all. That's all I ask.
All right, and you got to give him a chance. Season's coming up. We'll see how it all plays with Daniel Jones. But I'll tell you what, Steve, nobody could hate on that Prince-looking purple rain jacket that you have on right now. Nobody can hate on that. That's a good look.
Appreciate that.
That gets an A+. No D's here for that. That gets an A+ for sure.
I'm with you. Thank you.
There we go. That is the great New York Post sports columnist Steve Serby. Join me here to talk about Daniel Jones' performance in the Giants' second preseason game against the Texans. Steve, appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
A+ for you.
I like that grade.